Let's take a look at variety. Variety adds interest to design. If a design, as I mentioned before, has too much unity, it actually is sort of boring. Variety is often accomplished by contrast. Here you see variety happening in this piece in several different ways. One of the ways that variety is happening is we have the woman here, and then we have all of this area right here. One side is very colorful, the other side is pretty much black and white. Also, notice just within the woman that we have variety. We have variety in shapes. There are some organic shapes like her lips, her nose, her eyes, her neck. And then in her hair area and in what would be her clothing area is a variety of geometric shapes. Notice up in this top right-hand corner, we have a variety of color. The thing to remember about variety is that we want to make sure that we don't lose unity. Unity of the piece is extremely important. Now, just a couple of other things to point out in this graphic design piece here is you'll notice that this woman is very large. Her size is large. She is so large that she can't be contained on the page. That is a very good graphic design technique. Often, new graphic designers think that they have to put the full face or the full body, or if it's a product, the entire product. But if you want a product or a person or even typography to look really big, make it so big that the page can't even contain it. Another thing I want you to look at is notice the shape of the space. We have, of course, the shape of the woman right here, but the opposite side is the shape of the space. This designer did something that many good designers do, and that is take into consideration the shape of the space when organizing the type. Notice it's wider here, it goes in here, it rounds out down here. That is the designer taking into consideration the space that the type is going to lay in and conforming the type grouping and the type shape to that space. This painting is very similar to the one we looked at when we looked at unity. And hopefully you can see the same types of things going on with regard to unity. We have warm colors up here and then balanced warm colors down there. And we also have unity in the textures that we see. By the way, we have our familiar shape, a triangle. But what adds variety, of course, is the color. We see variety of colors, even some blues and some reds and some yellows. We see variety of colors in the ocean area, and we see variety of colors in the sky area. But we also see a variety within the texture. Notice that we have quite a bit of vertical lines happening here, and we have quite a bit of horizontal lines happening there. And then, as I mentioned, we have this triangle. Another thing I want to point out is what's adding variety to this is perspective. A lot of time, designers, photographers, fine artists will draw, paint, design, take a photo straight on so that the horizon would be straight on and the buildings would be straight on. All of that tends to be sort of boring. Here you can see that because we have a vanishing point, because we're going off into the horizon like that, the angle is different, and therefore the entire painting is much more interesting, and it takes on a variety of a perspective. Here in the photograph, we don't have that sort of angle that we saw in the painting. This then looks a little bit more flat. However, we still have variety. First of all, notice the focal point. The focal point isn't really big. The area of emphasis, this tree, is not very large at all, but the reason why we see it is because it's an organic shape, a familiar organic shape, contrast with these horizontal lines and set apart by all that blue space. In addition, the variety is accomplished with a variety in color. Obviously, you can see green, yellow, and blue. Two other things I want you to notice: how strong the lines are in this photo, plus it conforms to, remember, the rule of thirds. Notice the horizon is right on that line. You have all of this space up here, and then all of this space down here, and then the main focal point, the tree, is right there where those lines intersect. To sum things up, your design should have unity and variety. All of your designs should have unity and variety. Unity is the idea of your entire piece looks like everything belongs together. It's experienced as a single design piece. And yet within that piece, there are different things, visual things that are going on that make it interesting and guide us through.